When high school sophomore Eli Carter snuck into his teacher's office to steal an answer key, he didn't find test papers. He found a box, a locked box, and what was inside that box would unravel a nightmare the entire town of Larchwood had been blind to for 19 years. You think you know your teachers, the ones who inspire you, guide you, shape you. But Ms. Linda Hale wasn't just a favorite English teacher. She was a predator hiding in plain sight. Over the next hour, we're going to walk you through a case so surreal, so hidden, it slipped under the radar of police, parents, and even the FBI, until a teenager with a guilty conscience blew the whole thing wide open. The town that trusted her, Larchwood, Ohio. Population, 8,631. A town so small, kids walked home barefoot from school in the spring. For nearly 2 decades, Ms. Linda Hale was the cornerstone of Larchwood High School. Students loved her. Parents adored her. Administrators trusted her. She taught advanced English Lit, and every year, her seniors aced their college entrance exams. She had tea with the principal, coordinated school fundraisers, and baked cookies for faculty meetings. But every few years, a woman would go missing, not in Larchwood, but just far enough away. A waitress, a truck stop hitchhiker, a woman walking alone at night. No one ever linked the cases. They were random, transient victims, or so everyone thought, and no one would have ever connected them to the smiling woman reciting Shakespeare with her AP class, until one student made the mistake of trying to cheat on a test. The box that shouldn't have been there. Eli Carter wasn't a troublemaker. He just wasn't passing SO on April 9th, 2023. After school hours, he waited until Ms. Hale left her office and snuck in. He searched drawers, folders, a locked cabinet. And then, he saw the box that IT wasn't school issued. It was old, wooden, and reinforced with metal brackets. He thought it might have tests. What he found were several driver's licenses, clippings of missing women jewelry, necklaces, bracelets, items that seemed intimate, and at the bottom, a Polaroid. A photo of a woman duct taped to a chair. She was crying, and the timestamp read, May 12th, 2017. Eli took one photo and ran. He didn't tell his parents. He didn't go to the principal. He went to someone else, someone he thought could help him get out of it without getting in trouble. He showed the photo to his cousin, who, the next day, called the police. The arrest that shocked the town. April 12, 2023, a Wednesday morning. Ms. Linda Hale, dressed in her usual floral cardigan, stood at the front of her classroom reading Emily Dickinson at exactly 10:14 a.m. Officers entered room 209. Linda Hale, you're under arrest for possession of stolen property and suspected connection to multiple missing persons cases. The classroom fell silent. Students thought it was a mistake, a prank, something she'd laugh off. But Linda didn't laugh. She didn't cry either. She calmly closed her book, nodded, and said, "Children, pack your things." The box had been found. The photo was real, and fingerprints on multiple items linked back to women who had been missing, some for over a decade. The police found more than one box. They found 5 that hidden throughout her home, each containing mementos, each trophy case of lives erased. Her house was a museum of murder. The profile nobody caught. FBI analysts were brought in. They had a theory. Linda Hale fit the mold of a high-functioning female serial killer. She wasn't impulsive. She didn't lash out. She was meticulous. She kept trophies. She selected victims with extreme care. Her victims? Almost all women, ages 19 to 32. Most were reported missing during holiday breaks, when Linda was on vacation. Her targets were women with no close family or unstable housing situations. In interviews, neighbors described her as sweet, quiet, and always helpful. That was part of the camouflage. She wasn't operating out of rage. She was operating out of control. A pattern soon emerged. Victims were picked from bus stations, bars, rest stops. Each was held for several days. Each was last seen within 30 miles of wherever Linda had been staying. But what was her motive? Why would a woman so admired do something so monstrous? DNA reveals the unthinkable. When the FBI searched for her home, they also found something chilling in the basement. A small freezer padlocked shut. Inside were biological samples, hair, teeth, even partial fingers, all preserved. DNA testing began immediately, and then the floodgates opened. Over 14 missing persons cases were matched to those remains. For women had never been identified. Linda had been killing for over 19 years. She was 51 when she was arrested. That meant she started in her early 30s. And perhaps the most disturbing part, the very first victim identified, was her sister, Lisa Hale, missing since 2004, assumed to have run away. Her body was never found, but DNA from one of the teeth confirmed it. Lisa had been killed and preserved by her own sister. No one in the town had even known Linda had a sister. She'd erased that part of her life long ago. Students speak out after the arrest. Students began to speak out. Many of them described Linda as brilliant, funny, quirky, but also oddly controlling. Some girls said she'd fixate on female students who reminded her of someone. She'd offer them rides, extra credit, invite them to lunch. One former student came forward. She told me once, "You have your whole life ahead of you, unless someone takes it." I thought she meant it metaphorically. Another said Linda had a collection of letters she claimed were from former students, but the handwriting seemed too similar. Several students admitted they were scared to talk. Even after the arrest, they believed Linda might have had an accomplice. Or worse, that there were more victims, buried somewhere they hadn't looked. Her secret home. As the investigation deepened, detectives uncovered a second home Linda owned under an alias. Annalise Grant. It was a cabin 2 towns over, rarely visited, paid in cash. In that home, they found a soundproof basement, chains bolted to the floor, a camcorder, and more photos. Police believe this was where the actual killings occurred. Digital recovery experts found fragments of videos. None were publicly released, but one detective testified, "It was worse than anything I've seen in my career. She didn't just kill, she rehearsed it." Linda had filmed herself practicing phrases in the mirror, smiling while saying, "Don't cry, it'll be over soon." The trial, and the tapes. Linda Hale's trial began in March 2024. She was charged with 18 counts of murder, 4 of kidnapping, and unlawful possession of human remains. Her defense? Dissociative identity disorder. Her lawyer argued that a split personality, Annalise, was responsible. The prosecution countered with the videos, the trophies, the timeline. And then, the student who started it all, Eli Carter, was called to testify. He stood on the witness stand and said, "I thought I was cheating, but I walked into hell." Linda never once looked at him. In July 2024, she was found guilty on all counts, sentenced to life without parole. Her only words were, "I was always meant to teach something." How many victims? The true number of Linda Hale's victims remains unknown. The FBI has linked 18, but believes the number could be as high as 27. Some of the trophies found remain unmatched to any missing persons reports, and the camcorder recovered. The footage had been deleted years ago. Forensic analysts found fragments dating back to 2006, but her journal entries, discovered in the cabin, hinted at more. October 2003. The first was the hardest, but after that, it felt like poetry. There, maybe bodies buried in places we'll never find. Aftermath: how a town recovered. Larchwood High School shut down for a full semester. Therapy services were brought in for staff and students. Linda Hale's name was removed from every yearbook and classroom record. A new scholarship was created for victims of violent crimes. Eli Carter transferred schools and remains in therapy. He refuses interviews, but once posted online, "I wish I had never opened that box. But if I hadn't, she'd still be out there." The town of Larchwood no longer celebrates Teacher Appreciation Week. Some scars go too deep. Linda Hale will die in prison, but she'll never walk the halls of a school again. Never grade another paper. Never smile at a student while hiding a truth too dark to imagine. But her story lives on, not because of what she did, but because one student, a 15-year-old who just wanted to pass a test, found the courage to speak. And in doing so, he stopped a serial killer. It reminds us, evil doesn't always look like a monster in the shadows. Sometimes it wears a cardigan and stands at the front of the classroom. If this story shocked you, if it made you think twice about the people we trust the most, hit the like button. It tells the algorithm this case deserves to be seen. And if you want to hear more true crime stories like this, ones buried in forgotten courtrooms and sealed FBI reports, click subscribe, because every week we uncover the truth behind the faces we thought we knew. Until next time, stay curious, Stay safe, and if something feels wrong, trust your instincts.